So Hazer, I want to talk about Ryan Smith. He's had back-to-back seasons where he exceeded his previous point total, and if you look at him right now, he's on a pretty crazy pace, especially after that game in Buffalo. I guess my question to you is, how good is Ryan Smith, and how good can he become in this league?
He's really good, and he could be really good there too overall. He's just playing with a lot of confidence, and he's working really well with the group around him. So I think, and again, he'd probably be one of the first guys to give a little bit of credit there too. Like as a group, like Fieldsy is our one and Smitty is our 1A for the most part on that side of the floor. He's just playing with a lot of confidence. Things are dropping for him, but continually going, and he's continually being a leader for us as well. Again, stepping off the floor in between shifts, like he's communicating well with the group, getting everybody on the same page, and yeah, it's fun to see how he's developed. And again, we still think there's more there that he's going to be able to do for us.
When you refer to him and Connor Fields as like a one and a 1A, I mean, there was probably a point in time, like I think last season, maybe there was a noticeable or obvious gap in just Connor Fields and most players in this league because he is so elite. Uh, is Ryan Smith or has Ryan Smith kind of closed that gap in viewpoint? I mean, are those guys too that could be obviously they do things differently, but are they kind of an equal caliber of elite player?
For us and what we consider 100%. And I think again, a lot of the credit goes to Kyle as well, along with the personnel that's on the floor. I think Smitty is the benefactor this year of a lot more ball movement. And Fields is doing a good job of creating that as well. And again, it's not last year there was times we looked at Fieldsy and said, you got to move the ball, you got to move the ball. This year we're not saying that. He's moving the ball really well. And our righties are doing a great job of creating space for Smitty. And again, as a group, they're doing a great job. And again, as I said, he's the benefactor of it at the end of the day here, that he's bearing his opportunities that he gets. And yeah, he's been really, really good.
These last few weeks, result wise, obviously haven't been what you've liked, but specifically the fourth quarter in Saturday's game against Buffalo, was that closer to the team that you saw those first 3 weeks, or are there things that you still didn't necessarily like?
Yeah, no, that fourth quarter was really good. And again, it gives us some confidence moving forward that hey, when we do flip that switch, like we can compete and we can, keep up with anybody. And again, the champions are a prime example. They're champs for a reason. And we outscored them in that fourth quarter. But overall, like I say, we like that consistency from our front end a little bit more. We're not having so big of a dips throughout the game and back end as well, right? Like we just need to find that consistency. And again, truth be told, and it is what it is. But like I say, we are missing, 4 or 5 really key players that we expected to be on the floor. And it's great that we're giving guys opportunities and they're getting looks and they're getting experience, which again is going to bode well for us. But having those guys on, will we be on the right side of things? Maybe. But the one thing that we do like right now is our compete level across the board. Like we're not mailing it in. Like I say, we just want some consistency, but we're going to be here and we're going to battle for as long as we have that opportunity.
When you talk about those missing bodies, I mean, it feels like every week we're kind of asking for an update in bated breath. But you've got this big Georgia team coming in, a pretty good team with some noteworthy players. Is there any possibility that you get any of your guys back, or is anybody getting closer to returning?
I think everybody's getting closer. Will they be on the floor? We might see one guy possibly coming back in, but again, we're also taking a little bit of a cautious approach here with our last bye week coming up the following week. Is like I say, if these guys do get one more week, it actually turns into two, which they're back on the floor in three type deal. So we'll see. They are getting better, they are getting stronger, they are getting closer, but again, it is what it is, and whoever steps on the floor has just got to do the job.
When it comes to yourself, because you're not stepping on the floor, but you're behind those guys on the bench, how do you kind of keep this, I guess, mental composure when you look at the way that things have gone. A 3-0 team is now 3-4. There are bodies missing, to your point. You cited the compete level. Is that enough to keep you composed, or are you doing other things to just make sure that you have these troops rallied?
Uh, sorry, for lack of a better term, last week there. And again, it's just because of what we're doing, and we felt we made a lot of mistakes. And again, hey, when we make mistakes, Buffalo is right there to capitalize on them. And uncharacteristic mistakes. Turning the ball over at center 3, 4 times. Started the compete level on a few loose balls that we did not compete, and they took it and ran with it and scored in transition as well, type deal. So there's moments where, like I say, those moments are kind of like what we call choices. And that sometimes the choices that we're making is not very good. So we kind of highlighted that, but at the same time, it's for us, for me, for the guys, it's over. And we just sort of talk about, just being a little bit better in one thing. You just let's not make that one mistake we did last week where we said, "Oh, damn." Let's not do that this week and see where we are.
And the last thing I have for you, Hazer, is you played a good team now twice in Buffalo. Georgia looks pretty good as well. They also have Lyle Thompson and a couple of his brothers. I mean, that family is pretty dynamic and entrenched in NLL history. What do you have to do to try and shut down a team like the Swarm, who are going to come in ready to battle on Saturday?
Yeah, we got to do a lot by committee. And again, we got to make sure we're communicating. And again, just sticking to our principles basically at the end of the day. Like we're going to have our hands full to say the least. Again, they're dynamic. They step up and put a lot of pressure on our D getting into the O zone. And they're big and physical in their defensive end as well. And again, Dauber, watching their game against Vancouver, it looks like what they were struggling with kind of corrected itself a little bit. So we just got to be good in all areas of the floor. And again, the other thing we stress is just be good at what you do. We don't need guys to step outside their roles or their abilities. We just be good. And then again, at the end of the 60, let's see where that stacks up and puts us out.
Thanks, Hazer. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Ripper, do you have anything?
Uh, yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're up. It's all you.
Taylor Jensen has played 2 straight games for you now. I thought he was one of your best defenders this past weekend against Buffalo. What have you seen in him and his kind of development that is really starting to impress you?
You know what? His awareness and his ability to grasp what we're trying to do as a group has been tremendous. And right from first day of training camp to now, every time he stepped on the floor with the group around him, he's gotten better and he's got a lot more confident. And we see that in his game. It's just he played well in Halifax. I thought he played a lot better in Buffalo, where again he was a little more comfortable, a little more confident, and getting on hands a bit quicker, making some good reads and some good slides. And the one thing about him, he's dynamically and naturally gifted to get up floor, but he's really concentrating on his defensive side first. And as one thing that we will ask for him kind of moving forward is his ability to jump up and transition and try to a little bit create a little bit more after he does his job back in the D end. And that's the one good thing about it so far. He's really concentrating there first.
I guess my last question is Joe Post is really establishing himself as a key part of your team. He's winning I think 64% of his faceoffs right now. It's got to be a lot nicer this year to have him in the lineup. I think he actually joined the team right around this time last year after he had taken some time off. How have you kind of seen him grow and get better over the last year?
Again, his face-off ability is never, I think, for us been in question. Again, it's the tricks, it's the nuances that he's learned and developed, and I think he's got a good grasp of that part of the game. For us, and again, he's not just a face-off guy anymore. He just, like I said, we need him to play those shifts on the defensive side as well. And each game, he's again, I think, gotten a little more confident. The guys around him have gotten a little more confident in his abilities, and that side of the game, it's grown. It's grown tremendously. And again, if we're going to be able to, compete and get that on that goals against number, he's going to be a key part of it. And number one, getting us the ball more often than not. So our offensive steps on the floor more than their defensive side of things does. But again, he's got to stay and play and do a good job back there. And again, in the last few games, he's done that.
Awesome. Thanks, Hazer. I don't think anyone else has any questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks. See you Saturday. Take care.